Coming up on this edition of Reel to Reel, celebrating the feast of Our Lady of Guadalupe.
I'm Peggy Weber, and I'll be bringing the story of the new principal at St. Mary's School in Lee.
And Kids, Cookies, and Christmas. We join Father Brian McGrath in the kitchen. These stories and more are just ahead on this edition of Reel to Reel. Hello and welcome to Reel today as we pay a visit to St. Mary's School in Lee. This parish school has a 131-year history of proudly educating students in southern Berkshire County. Peggy Weber will introduce us to the school's new principal coming up later on in the program. But first, the sounds and sights of celebration filled the Newman Center Chapel on the UMass campus in Amherst this past Monday for the Feast of Our Lady of Guadalupe. The bilingual Mass reflected Mary's embrace of immigrants, the poor, and the marginalized, and featured the unveiling of a new image of Our Lady of Guadalupe, gifted to the Newman Center by its director, Father Gary Daly, from his recent Catholic Communications pilgrimage to Mexico. Bishop Mitchell Rosansky was on hand as the image was blessed and the chapel consecrated to Our Lady. Kathy Harrington reports.
Nearly 200 people celebrated the Feast of Our Lady of Guadalupe in Amherst at the UMass Newman Center Monday. This 485th anniversary of the apparition of Our Lady to Mexican peasant Juan Diego has special meaning for this parish community. After opening the Mass in Spanish, Bishop Mitchell Rosansky announced a gift to the Newman Center. Escorted by the Knights of Columbus, the life-size image of Our Lady of Guadalupe was carried to the altar.
For all of us in the Diocese of Springfield, Our Lady of Guadalupe should hold a special place in our hearts because she is the patroness of the Americas.
Finding the large image while on pilgrimage in Mexico posed a dilemma for Father Gary Daly.
I walked by it probably 10 times, and he kept speaking to me. And I said, "Oh, I don't know, how am I going to get that on the plane?" And after about 15 times walking back, I said, "She has to come to UMass."
A couple of Newman Center benefactors made it possible to ship the image to Amherst. On this night, the pews are filled with families, professors, and students, including international students. Diocese of Springfield Director of Latino Ministries, Andres Lopez, says being together for the Mass made it a special night.
And it's so important because when we praise honor to God and through the Virgin Mary, Our Lady of Guadalupe, it really make us feel like we are their children, we are her children.
Our Lady of Guadalupe is also the patroness of refugees and the enslaved.
We also pray to Our Lady of Guadalupe as the patroness of immigrants. We recall so many people throughout the world who, because of persecutions and wars, have left their homes for safety, and we ask for Our Lady of Guadalupe's protection for them.
The procession to the image to adorn Mary with roses was slow and reverent, with a dozen vases overflowing with blossoms. UMass senior Gary Denoyes says the timing, the feast day during Advent, is perfect, given what's been happening in his life of late.
I've experienced powerful things in the recent past 6 months, I would say, of my life that has been specifically drawing me closer to Mother Mary in all shapes and forms. Our Lady of Czestochowa in Poland, Our Lady of Mount Carmel, now it's Our Lady of Guadalupe. It's a different message. It's a different message in every part of the world, but the overriding message is the same. It's, she's there to help you get closer to Christ.
The celebration turned jubilant after Mass as a feast of Mexican food filled the hall of the Newman Center, giving people time to celebrate the gift of our Mother Mary's only apparition in the Americas. For Reel to Reel, I'm Kathy Harrington.
And the image of Our Lady of Guadalupe will hang in the front of the Newman Chapel. What a beautiful addition to the center. And speaking of Our Lady of Guadalupe, pilgrims from the Diocese of Springfield, led by Father Gary Daly, journeyed to Mexico in October to take part in a Catholic Communications pilgrimage to the shrine of Our Lady of Guadalupe in Mexico City. In the final segment of our December series, produced by videographer Sean Manning, the pilgrims ended the spiritual part of their trip where they began, to learn more about the history and faith of the people in this beautiful land.
Hello, I'm Father Gary Daly. Buenos dias from Mexico City on our day 3 of our pilgrimage. This morning we left the hotel and we took a bus tour of Mexico City, seeing some of the beautiful monuments and beautiful buildings, government buildings and churches and various sites around Mexico City. And then we are here now at the Cathedral of Mexico City, the Metropolitan Cathedral. And our pilgrims are able to once again go through the holy door of the cathedral to visit the inside and to see the beautiful altars, the magnificent structure here, certainly one of the largest cathedrals in the world. And so we gather here today, celebration of Mass is for the Feast of St. Luke in a small chapel on the side of the cathedral. And we prayed for all of our pilgrims, but also for all of you who are watching this in your intentions. And we pray for good health and good wishes for everyone as we continue on our pilgrimage through Mexico. We are called through this Gospel of Luke, day by day, to be witnesses to the gospel, to the good news. We're called to do exactly what was in St. Luke's Gospel today. To go out as missionaries, as ambassadors, as emissaries to the world and to preach the good news. Two things that we see in the gospel today, that the disciples are sent in pairs. So what it means is that we don't have to go it alone. Now, who's joined with us? Well, we are always yoked together with Jesus. We never walk alone. We never go it alone. Whenever we have a difficult task to do, whenever we have a difficult message to preach, we never go it alone. Jesus stands by our side. One of our stops during this pilgrimage day was to the tomb of Father Miguel Pro, now Blessed Miguel Pro. Miguel Pro was born in 1891. In 1915, Miguel was sent to the seminary in Spain and he remained there until 1924, and he went to Belgium and there he was ordained a priest in 1925. He suffered from a lot of illness during that time and his superiors sent him back to Mexico. But during that time there was the great persecution in Mexico with the Catholics. And so he was one of the priests and one of those who were involved in the Cristeros movement, trying to regain the practice of Catholicism back here in Mexico. He was falsely accused of the bombing attempt on the former Mexican president, and so he was then a wanted man, and so he was executed. Father Miguel Pro forgave his executioners, and he prayed bravely, and he died with the words, "Viva Cristo Rey," long live Christ the King. And so we're so grateful to be able to pray at his tomb and to be in his presence, a real martyr, a real man of God who gave his life for his sheep. What a surreal experience that we're actually here at the Basilica of Our Lady of Guadalupe. There is a presence here unlike anything that I have ever felt before in any other pilgrimage. And coming here to Guadalupe and praying for the intentions of so many people and witnessing the image firsthand and seeing the beauty and the faith of the people here in Mexico is really uplifting. Well, our pilgrimage has ultimately led us here to this sacred place on top of Tepeyac Hill. After catching our breath, I'm able to tell you that this is the very place in which Our Lady appeared to Juan Diego. Behind me is the church in which she asked the bishop to build in her honor this temple dedicated to our Blessed Mother. This is also the place in which Juan Diego met our Blessed Mother when she gave him the Castilian roses to prove to Bishop Zumarraga that this is an authentic apparition and that her request to build this temple in her honor was authentic. And so this place is indeed a holy place. It is indeed the place which we have ultimately come to see, and we give glory to God for what has happened here at Guadalupe. It's very interesting to note, too, the influence of Pope St. John Paul II here. There's a massive monument to him here at Guadalupe because this was a very special place for him. In the 20th century, up until his time when he came here in 1978 to visit the people of Mexico, the church was in turmoil. Priests were not allowed to wear their religious garb. Pope John Paul II was coming to Mexico not as a diplomat because Mexico had no diplomatic relations with the Vatican. He was coming here as a tourist, and he had to fill out all documents and visas as a tourist to this country. And in fact, he wasn't supposed to be wearing any papal garbs, any distinct vesture that would show him as a priest or a bishop. And yet, Pope John Paul II came off that plane in his papal garb. In fact, he was fined by the government. And as a result of his presence here in Mexico, the church began to flourish. And the government decided that they could not defeat the Catholic Church any longer. And priests were then allowed to wear their religious garb, able to wear their collar, and to celebrate publicly services around this country. And we are grateful to Almighty God for the opportunity to be in this holy place, in this holy ground, and to be able to experience the beauty of this place of Our Lady of Guadalupe.
And our thanks to Father Gary Daly for leading the pilgrimage, and to videographer Sean Manning for capturing the history, beauty, faith, and culture of Mexico, and also for producing and editing the pieces. By the way, if you'd like to travel with Father Gary and Springfield Bishop Mitchell Rosansky to Portugal, Spain, and France next July, there are still seats available. For more information, check out a link that we have on iobserve.org, or we can also send you information in the mail. Just call 413-732-3175. That's 413-732-3175. And still to come on Reel to Reel, we'll introduce you to the new principal here at St. Mary's School in Lee. And join us in the kitchen with Father Brian McGrath. These stories and more are still to come on Reel to Reel.
Chalice of Salvation, your weekly spiritual connection. I'm Passionist Brother Terrence Scanlon, your Chalice host, inviting you to join us on Sunday morning at 10 a.m. Join us this week as we conclude our Advent journey. Monsignor Christopher Conley, Rector of St. Michael's Cathedral, will be our Mass presider. The Chalice of Salvation, your spiritual connection, Sunday morning at 10, here on 22 News.
It's the holiday season, so you know what that means. It's time for terrific movies. Here are my choices for some of the best films of 2016. Manchester by the Sea. This is a great film. A long film, but a great one. The story of a man who is haunted by his past and now must face his brother's sudden death and must face the future. Casey Affleck is outstanding. His face tells us a whole story of someone who has really seen it all. A best actor for sure. And also Michelle Williams as his ex-wife is just perfect. This is her best work to date. Go and get ready for a wild roller coaster ride.
You could see him if you want.
Could we ever have lunch?
You mean us, you and me?
Yeah.
Hidden Figures. Here's a great example of a small movie with a big message. The story is one that I was not aware of, but should be told. It centers around 3 extremely intelligent and strong black women who work for NASA in the 60s. The prejudice that they need to work against, not only concerning their race, but their gender, is a daily battle. But their strength and perseverance is impressive and uplifting.
That's John Glenn.
What do you ladies do for NASA?
Calculate launch and landing, sir. Engineering. And I'm proud as the devil to be working with you.
Jackie. This is the first surefire nominee for Best Actress this year, and it will be Natalie Portman for her portrayal of Jackie Kennedy in this new film, Jackie. Miss Portman does not act the role. She becomes Jackie right before our eyes. Her voice, mannerisms, and style show through beautifully. The film is a grim reminder of that devastating November day in 1963, when our world forever changed, and our First Lady took it upon herself to heal the nation and keep her children safe and protected. Jackie, the film, is a piece of fine acting, like a fine piece of porcelain that is fragile, yet beautiful. And you can see my reviews, as well as read other movie reviews provided by the U.S. Conference of Catholic Bishops online at iobserve.org. That's iobserve.org. And so many people have been asking me, Mark, what was your favorite film of 2016? Well, my choice is La La Land, a terrific film starring Ryan Gosling and Emma Stone. It's part comedy, part drama, part love story, and mostly musical. It is a movie that will warm your heart as it warmed mine. I'm Mark Giza, wishing you the very best at this holiday season, and we'll see you at the movies.
Signs of the season abound here at St. Mary's School in Lee, which has a proud history of more than 130 years. And this year, Jen Maston took the helm as the new principal. She appreciates the past and the potential for this wonderful Berkshire County Catholic school. Peggy Weber visited here and tells us more.
Being a new principal carries many responsibilities, but Jen Maston is ready for the job, even if it means jumping into a Foursquare game with her students. She is a hands-on administrator and cares about the school for many reasons, including the fact that her 3 children are students there in pre-K, first grade, and third grade. Jen also has served at the school for 12 years, initially as the director of the preschool. St. Mary's is a special place for her.
I just fell in love with the school. I got to a point where I never wanted to leave. I knew this is where I wanted to be.
And Jen says she wants other people to see what she sees. She wants people to appreciate St. Mary's School.
I want to get the word out there. We have a phenomenal staff this year, and they're just doing such great things in their classroom, and I really want people to see that and to know about that and realize what we have to offer.
Communication is key to a successful school, and Principal Jen Maston knows how to do that. She has let the community, the staff, the faculty, and the students know that they're going to have a special visitor. That's right. She told them that we were coming. Newly appointed pastor, Father Brian McGrath, is working with Jen to continue the proud 130-year-old tradition. Jen Consolati, who attended St. Mary's as a youngster, has been working at the school for 9 years. She, too, is very upbeat.
We are so excited to have Jen to be our principal at St. Mary's this year. She is just a born leader. She's worked here for a really long time, and she has the respect of all the teachers, all the students, the families, the staff. Everyone is just loves having her as part of our family at St. Mary's.
From the little ones to the older students, all are fans of their new principal. In fact, the upper grades even held a prayer service in honor of her new job. Botania Robertson loves her school and its new leader.
I like it because it's like all a big family, so everybody knows everybody, and it's like a community. She has these really great ideas, like Fall Fun Fest. She sits with you at lunchtime, so she's part of the community and not just a principal.
Jen enjoys leaving her office and being with the students. She sees so many good things going on at St. Mary's, but she also knows that the really big difference at the school is its dedication to the Catholic faith and the prayer life of her students.
And that is one thing that I think absolutely distinguishes us from other schools. The idea that not only we pray together every day, which brings you together in a way I don't think you realize until you leave. We've heard that from a lot of our graduates. They say, I really miss praying every day.
Jen clearly cares about St. Mary's and is eager to share with others what a great and nurturing place it is for her family and many other families in the Berkshires. She is happy to be a part of a long legacy, but also eager to chart the future with faith, a great faculty, and fun. For Reel to Reel, I'm Peggy Weber.
And the school was honored recently at the annual Diocesan Catholic Schools Dinner for making a difference in the lives of so many children for more than 130 years. For more information about St. Mary's School in Lee or any of our wonderful Catholic schools in the Diocese of Springfield, log on to our website at iobserve.org. And another new addition to the team at St. Mary's is its pastor and occasional reel-to-reel chef, Father Brian McGrath. If you have school-age children or grandchildren and are looking for a fun family baking activity to do with them for Christmas, we might have just the recipe for you. So we're here in the kitchen at St. Mary's School in Lee with Father Brian McGrath, who is no stranger to Reel, but he's new here at St. Mary's in Lee as the new pastor. And so we thought we'd pay a visit, and it's almost Christmas, and we thought we would do a little special holiday recipe.
Yeah, and Christmas is always about great food and family. So we thought we'd do a very simple cookie recipe that'd be fun to have your whole family be part of. In this case, I'm going to have the family that's my school here, first and second graders, helping us in a little bit.
Ooh, that should be fun.
Yeah, but we first have to make the dough. And so we're going to need our ingredients, our flour and our sugar, our salt, our baking powder, our vanilla, butter, eggs or egg beaters, and milk. The egg beaters is an interesting thing because it's involving kids. Pasteurized eggs is important. You can buy them in the egg, pasteurized, but we thought it'd be safe than sorry and do egg beaters.
Because they might be eating a little bit of the dough, right? The raw dough.
You can't do that. So we start by blending together our sugar and butter. And cooking is a little bit different than baking. I actually love to cook. I do okay with baking. But the baking, you have to be really precise in your measurements. So when you measure out ingredients, you got to be precise that it's, see the cup?
Exactly,
You got to be
yes.
exactly a cup.
Yeah.
So we're going to need 1.5 cups. We've softened our butter. So while that's mixing together, so the sugar and the butter are kind of coming together, we're going to take a little bit of time to mix our dry ingredients.
Okay.
So for our dry ingredients, we're going to need 4 cups of flour. Add a little bit of salt to that. It's a little bit easy with the baking powder because it comes a little.
Oh, I like that feature.
Okay.
Yeah.
1, 2. We'll post the recipe, but it's
Okay.
1 teaspoon of salt, 2 teaspoons of baking powder. We're just going to mix this together a little bit so flour and the sugar and the salt kind of come together evenly. You could just crack the eggs into it. When you use these egg beaters, we're talking 1/4 cup per egg. And then 1 teaspoon of vanilla. So as that mixes together, we've got our flour mixture. And as that's mixing, we get ready with our milk. All we're going to need is 1/4 cup of milk. So what we've got is just a thoroughly mixed batch of cookie dough. A little bit of flour on the top, but
I would be eating this all right now.
actually, this is our favorite part when we were kids. It'd be like, who gets
licking
the
it?
right?
Oh, yes. Ooh. And it's safe because it's egg beaters, right? Awesome.
We're going to take this, cover it, put it in the refrigerator for 2 to 3 hours, let it chill down.
Okay, I'll wait right here.
All right, I'll be right back.
Okay.
Okay, so we've set the table for the children, and we're going to be setting up to have them each do their own cookies.
Okay.
To do that, I've taken a solution of parchment paper. You could do it on a floured surface, but the parchment paper makes life a lot easier. We've taken our dough,
It's
formed
chilled.
little balls, chilled.
For how many hours?
About 2 to 3.
Okay.
So it's easy to work with. And we're going to take just a tiniest bit of flour so it doesn't stick to it. And all we're going to do is roll out our dough. So all we're doing is rolling. And
So
again,
it doesn't rise up any more than that?
it will
or
rise a
will?
little bit.
little,
Yeah, it's got that leavening, the baking powder in it. So we're going to take a little break, get the kids here, and then we'll start decorating.
Okay.
All right, so everybody's going to have their own cookies. And Isabella was thinking maybe a gingerbread man, right? And we're going to put them so that they can fit. Don't press anything down, and get them centered. You want to do an angel, right?
Please do a gingerbread man.
So an angel.
Not yet.
What was the third one? Rudolph, right? Let's do Rudolph. And then we're going to take them, we're going to push them down. Ooh, squish them, squish them, squish them. And what I want to do is don't move the ornament, take away the other stuff. And you're going to see what we're going to do with this afterwards. Our cookies. We'll make a little ball. So this is one way you do it. You do your cookies with a cutouts, or another way you could do it is you make these balls. I might even make 2.
There's a little.
A little bit more, can I have that? And you call them little ornaments. You take a coffee cup or something, and you squish them down. Uh-oh, it gets stuck a little bit. And then I get a little cookie. Isn't that cool? The bottom of your coffee cup. And now we get to decorate. Merry Christmas! Everybody look up. Merry Christmas!
Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas.
And that wraps things up here on Reel to Reel from St. Mary's School in Lee. Thanks so much to Father Brian McGrath and Jennifer Maston for hosting our visit today. We will be sure to tell Santa that all of the kids here at St. Mary's were really good this year. Next week, we will come to you on Christmas Eve from the Newman Catholic Center at the University of Massachusetts in Amherst. And for this week, that's Reel to Reel. As always, keep up with all of the latest news on the Catholic Church, both here in the Diocese of Springfield and around the world. Check out our news and information site, iobserve.org. Also, you can friend us on Facebook at Catholic Communications. I'll see you next week at this same time on Reel to Reel, your window on the world around you. Have a great week.
Reel to Reel is a production of the Catholic Communications Corporation, funded in part by the annual Catholic Appeal, and the support of you, our faithful viewers.